Hey, today we're going to be looking at the Zeapon Micro 2 slider. An amazing motorized slider that's affordable, easy to use, and really compact. I've had a few other sliders in the past, and one I still have is the Moza Slypod. And this was actually a product I was really excited for when it first was announced and when I first got my hands on it. I found it was just a lot more difficult and more time consuming to set up than I would like. It wasn't the piece of gear that worked for my kind of shooting style, and so I decided to look for other sliders that were just a little bit more compact and easier to just get filming with, which is how I came upon the Zeapon Micro slider. It's a really easy and convenient tool to add to your kit that will weigh you down, that you'll find yourself rarely second guessing if you should carry it along with you. What I mean by that, and the main focus that I want to share with this video, is because of its compact size, if you're someone like me who frequently is deciding what gear should I take along with me, especially on smaller and less important shoots, you're not going to be worried with thoughts like, is this too heavy or big for me to carry along with me, or do I have enough time to actually set up and get the shot with this? And this relates to a lot of other gear that I've reviewed and that I constantly use on a daily basis. One of the things that makes me more hesitant to take it along, again, especially for smaller shoots, is the amount of effort and setup time required for it. And I'm glad to say the Zeapon Micro Slider is awesome in that sense because of how easy it is to go from unpacking this to setting it up and getting the shot. If at any point you're interested in learning more about the slider or checking out its best price, you can use the affiliate link down below, which is no cost to you, but helps out the channel, and I appreciate you doing so. So I'll show you a couple cool shots that I've taken with the slider. Then we'll come back, talk about the things I like about the slider, a couple things that I don't like, and I'll give you my thoughts to help you decide if this is the right product for you. So check it out. Throughout my time with the Zeapon Micro 2 slider, I think the biggest strength with this is its simplicity and super small, low profile size. I went with the Motorized pack, which includes the motor pre-installed on the rail, as well as a massive 6600 milliamp battery for it. This doesn't come with a low profile mount, which I think might actually be a really necessary accessory for this, and I would kind of recommend picking that up unless you know of another solution that kind of works as well. This Motorized kit with the included battery goes for about $400 on Amazon right now, while you can get the non-motorized version for $200. Depending on your use and budget, that non-motorized version might be all you need. I, however, opted for the motorized version because I know there will be times when I'm operating between two different cameras and doing like interviews and other kind of styles of shooting where I'll definitely benefit from having this. A couple quick specs out of the way, it can carry up to 4.5 kilograms, which is just under about 10 pounds in either direction, horizontal and vertical. Super powerful and smooth. One of the great things is my XH1 with its power grip and some of its heavier lenses becomes a pretty heavy and clunky setup. However, this is still able to carry it with no problem whatsoever. The main rail here is about 33 centimeters, which is about 13 inches long, but its expanded distance goes to about 54 centimeters, which is about 21 inches long. The main idea behind a slider which adjusts and expands as opposed to just going along a long rail is that it minimizes the chance and opportunity for your camera to catch the slider in frame. Unless you have a very ultra wide lens that's looking more downwards or at certain other angles, it's very unlikely that it's going to be caught within frame. In comparison, if you just had one very long rail with just this piece up here moving across it, the longer parts, the parts further out, are more likely to be caught in frames, which is one of the downsides to them and one of the main reasons you would want a slider that's more compact and actually expands. One of the cool things I found about having the Zeapon slider, and the thing that makes me more likely to carry it around, travel with it, and actually use it on various shoots, even ones that are just for more fun and that I don't want to spend as much time setting up for, is again, its compact size. I'm more easily able to put this in my camera bag in the same slot that I would put my tripod or my monopods because of how small and easy it is to put in that slot. The Slypod, on the other hand, because of its narrow and long size, it's not as easy to pack into that same slot because it's more likely to tip over or slide out. That's not even factoring in if you want to keep its handle and feet attached at the same time. Then the Zeapon is definitely, I can't even get this all in frame, the Zeapon is definitely half its size, and again, far easier to carry around. You could go with the argument, okay, well, if it does replace your tripod or monopod, then you don't have to carry one of those around, and that's fair, but it's not as secure or stable. It wobbles around a lot. And while this isn't a video specifically talking about the Moza Slypod, for my use, I don't have a lot of confidence putting it on the ground and using it that way. So I'd much rather actually have a dedicated monopod or tripod for that purpose. One of the biggest struggles I've had with this physically, because of its size, is its length. In order to get certain shots, especially in more limited and tighter situations here, like between myself and the table behind me, this is sticking out quite a bit, as you can see, and you're very limited in its movements. You'll see where your actual mounting point here is, and just look how long it is behind it. The Zeapon, on the other hand, is relatively center pointed, with the exception of it being fully extended. This distance here is less than a foot and is the furthest it's going to be sticking out or protruding from anywhere, which again is nearly half that of the Moza Slypod. If you want to pack lighter and keep this setup more compact to fit in the bag a little bit more easily, you don't need to take this big battery with you, especially if you're not going to be shooting for that long. One of these smaller ones, and this one is 2600 milliamps, works just as well, obviously not for as long, but you can see how much smaller and low profile it is, and the fact that it's almost flush with the unit itself. Despite their size differences, the Zeapon is a little bit heavier but feels more solid. As you can see here, is significantly smaller. It's about 3/4 of the size, meaning it's just a lot easier to put and pack into a camera bag, for example. It has a really small case. It offers a little bit of padding, not too much. With it packed in here, you're not adding that much to its overall size or weight, really. In comparison, this is the Slypod's case. It's not enormous, but you can see, especially with the case, it becomes far, far bigger and much more difficult to carry around compared to this. It's so quick and easy to set it up and get to filmmaking with it compared to the Slypod. You'll notice that there are very few buttons on this. You just have the one power button on the side here and your two directional points at the top. And between those three buttons, you can set all your functions on this. You power it on, the button on the side there, you click it once for speed, and you can see the lights up for speed 1, 2, and 3. So your directions are at the top. Setting your A and B points are easy. You use the power button here. Double tap on your first point. You'll hear a click. Go to your second point. Double tap the power button again. And then when you're ready to let it run, double tap, and it'll go. Real simple. If you want to cancel your A and B points, you just hold the two buttons at the top. You don't have to worry about using the app if you don't want to. You also don't have to memorize what different lights or blinking or any of that means. They kept it simple and made it really easy to use. I'm able to just turn this on, very quickly set the A and B points as well as the speed right on the device using its very simple and intuitive buttons, allowing me to get beautiful shots set up in seconds. I personally have hardly had the need or interest to use the app, which I think is important because it highlights the fact that you really don't need to rely on your smartphone or another device in order to really fully take advantage of the Zeapon and its features, which is a great example of less being more. In comparison, the Slypod doesn't allow me to get that kind of control easily unless I pull out the smartphone app, which has a lot of bugs and is slow, unreliable, and disconnects very frequently. Right off the bat, however, one thing that you should note, and it could be a deal breaker for some people, if you have the motor installed, if you want to use this manually by hand pushing it, you don't have the ability to do that so long as the motor is installed. You'll have to actually uninstall the motor if you want to use this as a manual slider. Not a huge issue for myself as I always have batteries with me and I actually prefer using it in its motorized state, but something to keep in mind. Now, I am primarily a videographer and I do use this solely as a video tool, but it does under here have the attachment allowing you to use a shutter release cable connected to your camera. And you want to use the app control of this device to control your shooting modes on your camera. Likewise, it also has a really cool feature of USB-C power delivery. So let's say, for example, you've depleted this massive battery, or you just forgot to charge this before your shoot. Luckily, because it is USB-C compatible, the same cable and charger that I use to charge my phone and many of my other accessories, including other camera gear too, is compatible with this. So it's a very modern and useful feature. Depending on your style of shooting and needs, you'll probably benefit from mounting some kind of head to the slider. More than likely from other gear that you have, like tripods or monopods or even some lights, you'll have some kind of adjustable head that can be pretty useful for getting different angle shots. This is just a very simple, cheap one that I have. It's actually pretty similar to some of the ones that come in the other kits that you can buy. This one's just very light and easy to set up, which is why I like it. It's not easy to control it or use it while the slider is in motion, but in general, I like to just set and tighten the position that I want the camera in and just have the slider run. But that's just an easy and cheap way to get a little bit more motion to your shots. To quickly wrap this up, the main reason I got this is it's a great filming tool that's easy to use, easy to set up, and also importantly, very easy to carry with me. The Slypod would probably be a great tool for me if not for its weird size and shape when traveling with, as well as the amount of actual time required to set up and get a shot ready using this. Even on my quick vacation or day trips, and I wanted to travel lightly, especially with the camera gear, and just limit it to one camera bag, the Zeapon was a great addition and not a burden at all. And so I was able to get really cool slider shots with this with relative ease and not feeling burdened down to the size, weight, or difficulty in setup with that. And that again is the main takeaway I want to leave you with. It's an easy tool to add to your existing kit and you're gonna love the shots that you get out of it. As always, I have more tech, gear, and camera reviews coming up on the channel. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification if you wanna see when my latest videos do come out. If you're interested in learning more about the Zeapon slider or any of the other gear that I do use, you can use the affiliate links down below and also help the channel out. And until the next one, guys, as always,